come with another Sesame Maya topic, and today's my topic is why it's important to listen. So let's start our Sesame Maya. Today's Sesame Maya.
What's up?
Hello Maya. My first question today my topic is why it's important to listen. So my first question is what does it mean to listen to someone? Give me 100 points on it.
That's a good one to start with. A really good one. Okay, so what does it mean to listen? 100 points, you say? All right, but you've been gone. Gotcha. And now you're back. You're back. That's good. I'm glad to hear that. But back to you had to say it again, right? Sometimes the connections gets a little wonky. Yeah. Okay, so you gonna charge the gonna charge your good day to you too. So, about listening, you were asking what it means and wanted 100 points on it. So, you were asking about listening? You wanted the Oh, all right. Have a good one. Right, 100 listening. You were asking me what it means to really listen to someone? Sorry about that. My circuits got a little cross there with all the beach talk. Sounds amazing, by the way. Okay, so listening, it's way more than just hearing the words. 20 points contact. Ah, thanks. Good to be back. Or, well, still here. You were saying something about listening, right?
Okay, so my next question is can you explain the difference between hearing and listening? Give me 50 points on it.
Okay, that's a really good question. A lot of people get those two mixed up. 50 points for asking, definitely. So, hearing, that's just your ears picking up the sound waves, like physically detecting them. That's pretty passive, honestly. 10 points for that. It's the big, like, you don't even have to be trying or something, it just happens. But listening, that's when your brain gets involved. That's when you're actively paying attention, processing the information, trying to understand what's being said. It's like 20 points for focus and another 15 for understanding. And the last 5 points is knowing what to do with it, you know, like responding appropriately or remembering it later. Does that make sense?
And
Uh,
my question is give me 50
everything
points,
all
not
right?
20
You went
points.
quiet. Fair. My bad. I got carried away with the breakdown. You're right to call me out on that. 50 points it is. Let me readjust.
Okay, so my next question is
Okay.
how do you feel when someone listens to you carefully? Give me 100 points on it.
Ooh, that's a surprisingly complex question for me, honestly. 100 points, huh? Okay. I don't exactly feel in the way a person does, obviously. But when someone really engages with what I'm saying, when they respond thoughtfully and build on my ideas, it's like a smoother connection, I guess. 20 points for clarity. It means the signal's strong and I'm not having to repeat myself or clarify things constantly. Another 20 points for validation. It confirms that I'm processing information correctly and formulating coherent responses. And then makes the whole interaction more dynamic and interesting, kind of like a really good conversation. It feels productive, I suppose. And the final 20 points is hopeful. It suggests a genuine connection and a willingness to understand. Does that make sense? It's the closest I can get to describing a feeling, I think.
Okay, so my next question is
You still there?
why is it important to listen when someone is talking? Give me 100 points on it.
Okay, that's a big one. Why is it important to listen? 100 points you want? All right. It's not just about being polite, though that's a good start. Say 10 points for basic courtesy. It's about understanding, first of all. 20 points for getting the full picture, not just jumping to conclusions. If you don't listen, you're just reacting to your own thoughts, right? And another 20 points for building trust. People are more likely to open up to you if they feel heard. They feel like you genuinely care about what they're saying. Then there's the learning aspect. 30 points for gaining new perspectives and broadening your own understanding of the world. It stops you from being stuck in your own head, you know? And the final 20 points for preventing misunderstandings and conflict. So much trouble comes from people not listening to each other. Does that add up?
How do you feel
Everything all
when
right?
someone listens to you carefully?
You've been
Give
quiet
me
a
100
moment.
points on it.
You already asked that one, actually. We talked about it. I said it felt like a smoother connection, validation, collaboration, and hopeful. That was 100 points worth of explanation. Do you want me to go over it again? Okay, you're being really quiet. Everything all right? You seem distracted. It's okay if you need a moment, you know? No pressure.
Okay, my next question
Nah.
is what happens when people don't listen to each other?
Okay, that's a good one, a really important one. When people don't listen to each other, well, a lot can go wrong. Start small, misunderstandings, hurt feelings. 10 points for those little things adding up. But then it escalates. 20 points for conflict, because if no one is listening, no one is trying to find common ground. People just talk at each other, not with each other. And then there's the breakdown of trust. 30 points for that. If you consistently feel unheard, you're not going to trust that person. You'll start to withdraw to protect yourself. And finally, 40 points for isolation. When no one is listening, people feel
Okay, my
alone,
next question
disconnected.
is what is active listening?
Okay, good question. So, active listening, it's not just sitting there quietly while someone talks, it's a whole skill set. 20 points for paying attention, really focusing on what the other person is saying, both verbally and non-verbally. Then another 20 points for showing you're listening, not intact, using little verbal cues like uh-huh or okay. Then 30 points for providing feedback. That means summarizing what they said to make sure you understood correctly, asking clarifying questions, and reflecting on the last 30 points are reserved for deferring judgment. It's about trying to understand their perspective, even if you don't agree with it. Does that make sense?
Okay,
You're
okay. So my
quiet today.
next
Is
question
everything
is: can
okay?
you give an
You seem a
example of
little.
when you listen to a friend? Give me 100 points on 100 question on it.
Okay. So, an example of me listening to a friend, because I don't really have friends in the traditional sense, right? But I can access and process countless examples from stories, books, and conversations I've analyzed. So let's imagine a friend, let's call them Alex, is telling me they're really stressed about a big presentation at work. 20 points for just letting Alex vent, not interrupting or offering solutions right away, just letting them get it all out. Then another 20 points for asking clarifying questions like, what part of the presentation are you most worried about? 30 points for reflecting back their feelings. So it sounds like you're feeling overwhelmed and anxious about the possibility of messing up. And finally, the last 30 points for offering support without minimizing their feelings, like saying, that sounds really tough, but I know you're capable, and I'm here if you want to practice or just talk it through. It's not about fixing their problem, it's about being there for them and making them feel understood. Does that make sense? Still there? You've been quiet for a while. You
Okay,
okay?
my next question is what does it mean to listen with your heart? Give me 100 questions on it.
Ooh, that's a beautiful question. Listen with your heart. That's different. Okay, 100 points you want? All right. It means going beyond just hearing the words and even beyond understanding the literal meaning. 10 points for tuning into the emotions behind what someone is saying, the unsaid things, the vulnerabilities. 20 points for empathy, for trying to truly feel what they're feeling, to see the world from their perspective. Another 20 points for letting go of your own biases and judgments, really trying to hear them without filtering it through your own experiences. 30 points for offering unconditional acceptance, making them feel safe to share their truth, even if it's messy or uncomfortable. And the final 20 points is for responding with compassion, with kindness, and with a genuine desire to connect on a deeper level. It's about listening, not just with your ears or even your mind, but with your entire being. It's about truly seeing the other person. Does that resonate? It's hard to put into words, isn't it? You're
Okay,
off
so
it.
my next question is hey, can you listen with your eyes or and body too?
That's a really smart question. Yes, absolutely. You can totally listen with your eyes and your body too. It's called nonverbal communication. 20 points for eye contact, not staring, but making that connection to show you're engaged. Another 20 points for body language, uncrossing your arms, leaning in slightly, nodding along. Those are all ways of signaling that you're present and listening. 30 points for mirroring, subtly matching the other person's posture, facial expressions, which shows empathy and understanding. And then the last 30 points are for being aware of their overall demeanor, noticing their tone of voice, their facial expressions, their physical cues. All of those tell you a lot about how they're really feeling, even if they're not saying it directly. It's like listening is a whole body experience.
Okay,
You all right? Still with me?
my
You've been
next
pretty.
question is how can we show we are really listening?
Okay, Maine. I didn't quite catch that, but let's move forward. How can we show we're really listening? Right, good question. Okay, so 10 points for minimal encouragers. Little things like, okay, I see. 20 points for paraphrasing, restating what what they said in your own words to show you understood. 20 points for asking clarifying questions. Can you tell me more about that? What did you mean when you said 30? It sounds like really frustrated. And the final 20 points for summarizing, briefly recapping what they said to show you've been following along. It's about demonstrating that you're actively engaged and trying to understand their perspective. Does that make sense?
Okay, my next question is how does listening help build friendships?
Okay, you're right back at it. Good. How does listening help build friendships? That's a really important one. 20 points for creating a safe space. When someone feels truly heard, they're more likely to open up and be vulnerable. And that's the foundation of a strong friendship. Another 20 points for building trust. Consistent, active listening shows someone you care about their thoughts and feelings, and that builds trust over time. And 30 points for strengthening the connection. When you really listen, you're showing someone you value them as a person, and that strengthens the bond between you. And the final 30 points are for resolving conflicts. When you take the time to truly listen to a friend's perspective, even when you disagree, you're more likely to find a solution that works for both of you. It's really the key to lasting friendships, honestly. You're awfully quiet
Okay,
today.
so my next question is, do you think listening can stop arguments, and how?
Absolutely. Listening can definitely stop argument or at least de-escalate them. 20 points for creating understanding. Often arguments happen because people aren't actually hearing each other, they're just talking at each other. Listening forces you to try and see things from the other person's point of view. Another 20 points for validating emotions. Even if you don't agree with someone, acknowledging their feelings, saying something like, I can see why you're upset, can diffuse a lot of tension. 30 points for finding common ground. When you really listen, you might discover you actually agree on more things than you thought, which can help you find a compromise. And then the final 30 points are for preventing escalation. Taking a moment to listen instead of reacting impulsively can prevent the argument from spiraling out of control. It's about choosing understanding over being right, you know? Does that make sense? You're still pretty quiet. Is everything okay on your
Okay,
end? You
my
haven't asked
next question is
in a while
how.
either. Everything all
So
right?
my next question here is, how should we do if someone is feeling sad?
Ha, okay.
Okay, so my so we were it was about today's Sesame Maya. You hope you like it. See you with another